What you do as a property custodian for your district or division is very important to the Department of Transportation. Thank you for taking the time to learn how you can be more prepared to perform this important role. Let's begin by looking at the goals of this presentation. The goals of this presentation are to meet new property custodian needs, provide excellent service in managing MDOT assets, and to serve as good stewards of taxpayer dollars by achieving successful 100% audits, exercising proper safekeeping, extending the useful life of assets, keeping accurate records, and minimizing loss. On the next slide, you will get to identify these stepping stones to good stewardship. Read each clue to identify the stepping stone to good stewardship, then find the answer in the word search. Click the first and last letter of the word to select it. Once you successfully find all four, click the forward button below to advance to the next slide. Congratulations on completing your first exercise in good stewardship. Now let's take a look at what you will learn in this first module. We will introduce the property custodian's role in the asset lifecycle, property custodian responsibilities, the property management team, property management terms, and make sure you know your first and last responsibility as a property custodian, which is to complete a transitional audit. So let's get started by taking a look at the asset lifecycle. Property custodians play an important part in every phase of the asset lifecycle. From acquisition to assignment, through maintenance and disposal, property custodians contribute to the effective management of every fixed asset at MDOT. Let's look at the list of property custodian responsibilities, and then we will identify which responsibilities go with each phase. Property custodians are responsible for fixed asset reporting, end-user assignments, marking and barcoding fixed assets, equipment usage reporting, fixed asset transfers, vehicle usage codes and usage descriptions, physical inventory of fixed assets, exit audits, fixed asset end-user certification and vehicle use agreements, as well as commuter authorization requests, and asset disposal. On the next slide, you will get to wheel your way through the phases to see where these responsibilities fit into each phase. To see the property custodian responsibilities associated with each phase of the asset lifecycle, click each phase and read the responsibilities that appear on the right. Notice which phase carries the most responsibilities. Once you wheel your way through all four phases, click the forward button below to advance to the next slide. Let's now do a knowledge check. Which phase of the asset life cycle is the longest and includes the most property custodian responsibilities? Choose the correct answer and click the Submit button on the bottom right. If you get applause, your answer is correct. Now let's take a look at the property management team at MDOT. The Asset Management Division, property custodians, and end users all work together to effectively manage assets entrusted to us. The Asset Management Division provides customer service, standard operating procedures, and training to ensure all MDOT assets are properly classified, inventoried, maintained, and being used to the best advantage to accomplish MDOT's mission and goals. The Asset Management Division works closely with each property custodian. Property custodians are asset management's eyes and ears in the field and are essential to effective asset management at MDOT. They are appointed by their district engineer or division director and are responsible for managing all fixed assets in their district or division. Property custodians, in turn, work closely with end users. End users are individuals to whom MDOT fixed assets have been personally assigned. They are solely responsible for the use, location, reporting, maintenance, and safekeeping of each item assigned to him or her. Each year all end users sign a fixed asset end user certification to acknowledge accountability for assets assigned to them. Regular communication between end users, property custodians, and asset management is the key to good property management at the Mississippi Department of Transportation. Now that we have identified the key players in MDOT's property management team, let's discuss some of the terms they use. Fixed assets are items assigned a property ID, affixed with a barcode label, and placed on inventory because they fall in one of three categories. 1. Vehicles, equipment, furniture, buildings, land, and land improvements with a purchase price or current fair market value of $1,000 or more and an expected useful life greater than 1 year. 2. Cameras, camera equipment, televisions, computers, and computer equipment with a value greater than $250 are considered exception items and must be placed on inventory. 3. Weapons, two-way radios, lawn equipment, cell phones, chainsaws, air compressors, welding machines, generators, and motorized vehicles are considered exception items and must be placed on inventory, regardless of cost. AMD 520, Fixed Asset Inventory Reporting Form, or White Card, is used by asset management to gather information about assets for posting to inventory. Asset management provides the AMD 520 to the property custodian after their fiscal staff enters a requisition for a fixed asset. The property custodian receives 2 copies of the form. The white copy is returned to AMD, and the blue copy is for the district or division. AMD provides a barcode label for every asset on inventory. The property custodian is responsible for ensuring all fixed assets are properly labeled. FMS is MDOT's financial management system that property custodians use to assign and transfer assets, maintain asset records, check equipment usage, view and print property-related reports. Next, let's talk more about the different types of physical inventory audits. There are 3 types of physical inventory audits performed by property custodians. Internal audits are conducted by the property custodian periodically throughout the year and annually for AMD. They are performed using the FMS Active Asset Listing by Location report. External audits are conducted annually by the Office of the State Auditor, AMD, and property custodians. Districts are scheduled every 2 years, and divisions are scheduled every 3 years or whenever there has been a change in property custodians during the year. They are performed using the FMS Active Asset Listing by Location report. Transitional audits are required when there is a change in property custodians. They are conducted jointly between the incoming and outgoing property custodian and are performed using the FMS Transitional Audit Report. Before we do a review of these property management terms, let's take a closer look at the transitional audit since it is the first and last property custodian responsibility. Property custodian's first and last responsibility is to conduct a transitional audit. As you know, A transitional audit is a necessary physical inventory audit conducted jointly by the outgoing and incoming property custodian when there is a change in property custodians. Because it is for your own protection, make sure the transitional audit is completed before you begin and end your property custodian responsibilities. Click on each of the tabs to see an explanation of the steps to change property custodians, starting with the one labeled Step 1. The first step that initiates a change in property custodians is done by the district engineer or division director. They complete the request to add or change property custodian, Form AMD 101, and send it to the Asset Management Division. The form is located and can be printed from Asset Management's division site on MDOT at work. Now, click Step 2 to see what to do after the AMD 101 step is complete. Before the outgoing property custodian leaves and the new property custodian assumes responsibilities, they will print the district or division transitional audit report from FMS found under FMS Report Preview. They will then conduct the transitional inventory audit together. Any missing items should be addressed at this time. Once all items in the list have been checked off as located, both the outgoing and incoming property custodian sign in the designated area at the end of the report. This certifies that all items were accounted for and transfers responsibilities to the new property custodian. Next, click Step 3 for an explanation of the next action that is required. The executed district or division transitional audit that was completed by the outgoing and incoming property custodian is submitted to the Asset Management Division. Asset Management then requests the necessary changes in FMS. Last, click Step 4 to see the final step of the process. The Asset Management Division completes the final step of the transition by completing a mass transfer of division or district assets from the outgoing property custodian to the incoming property custodian. At that point, all assets and responsibilities are assigned to the new property custodian. Now that you know the process, let's make sure you know how to access the required AMD 101 form and the district and division transitional audit report.
Now that you know the process for transitional audits, the Asset Management Division would like to demonstrate where to go to find Form AMD 101 that your district engineer or division director will use to request a change in property custodians. Starting at MDOT at work, look under Divisions and find Asset Management. After you click on Asset Management, you will arrive at Asset Management's division site. On the left side, you will find Forms. Click on Forms. The site will open up options for forms under Other Forms. When you open that, you will find Request to Add or Change Property Custodian listed at the bottom. Just double click it and the site opens Form AMD 101, Request to Add or Change Property Custodian. There's a place for sublocation number, sublocation name, district engineer or division director's name, and then a section to either add a property custodian or change property custodians by listing the current property custodian's name and the new property custodian's name. And last, at the bottom of the form, there's a place for the division director or district engineer to sign. Once the form is completed, send it to the Asset Management Division. Next, we would like to demonstrate where to go in FMS to find the transitional audit report you will use to conduct the transitional audit. After your district engineer or division director complete AMD Form 101 requesting a change in property custodian, the next step is to go into FMS to print the transitional audit report. In FMS, you will find the report under FMS Report Preview. If you don't already have a shortcut set up to FMS Report Preview, you can look to the left side under Navigator Hierarchy, click the plus sign beside Reporting, and under Table Reports, you will see FMS Report Preview. You can just click it, drag it, and drop it over to the right-hand side under your shortcuts. Let's double-click FMS Report Preview, and in the search, type District. As you can see, the name of the Transitional Audit Report is called District or Division Transitional Audit. Double-click it. The retrieval arguments that come up ask for fiscal year and whether or not you want to include depreciation. Enter the fiscal year, and for include depreciation, put an N for no and click OK. The next set of retrieval criteria that comes up is asking for the location code. If you are a district, this is where you will put 2100 for Tupelo, 2200 for Batesville, 2700 for Macomb, etc. If you are a division, your location code will be 2900, and that's where we're going to demonstrate. If you put in 2900 and click OK, it pulls in all of the divisions at central office. And of course, you would want to filter it for your location. Use the Action button to do that. Just click Action and Filter. In Specify Filter, you're going to go under Columns and choose Sublocation Code, and then type the word like, L-I-K-E, and start a single quote and enter the first 2 digits of your sublocation. For instance, if we were pulling law enforcement, their first 2 digits are 66, and then put a %, which is a wild card, so that any other sublocations that start with 66 will be included in the report. And then don't forget to end your single quotation and click OK. Now the report only includes all of law enforcement's sublocations and the assets that are in those sublocations. You can see that the report is 63 pages long. It's often helpful to now also sort it by end user, so that all of an end user's assets are grouped together, so that when you go around and check their items, they're all grouped together. The way to do that is go back to Action and go to Sort. In the Specify Sort columns, keep property ID there, but look in the source data, click on AM Asset End User. Drag it over to the right-hand side and place it on top of property ID, so that you're going to sort by end user and then by property ID. Now click OK. And you can see now that the report is sorted by end user, and all of their assets are in numerical order. There's a place to print this report at the top. You can choose to print it. And if I scroll to the bottom of the report, or the end of the report, it shows where the property custodians sign. There's a place to date and sign, transferring responsibilities from the outgoing property custodian to the incoming property custodian. It also verifies that you conducted the physical inventory together, jointly, and that all items were accounted for. Once this is complete, and all the items have been verified and checked off, and the signatures are at the bottom of the report, you will send it to the Asset Management Division. Thank you for watching this video. You're almost finished with the presentation. The last part is a 10-question quiz to help review property management terms and a summary.
Thank you for completing this introductory module to help be a more prepared property custodian. Let's review what it covered. We looked at the property custodian's very important role in each phase of the asset lifecycle. Next, we looked at the property custodian's various responsibilities within each of the phases from acquisition to disposal. We looked at the key players in the property management team made up of the Asset Management Division, property custodians, and end users. You were introduced to property management terms you will hear and use, and to conclude, we demonstrated how to conduct your first and last responsibility as a property custodian by taking a look at the transitional audit process. The next module will provide a more in-depth look at the part property custodians play in the acquisition, assignment, and maintenance phases. We hope this introduction has been beneficial and look forward to moving you to more preparedness in the next module. If you successfully completed the quiz for this module, congratulations! Please print the certificate in the next slide using landscape orientation, fill in your name, and send it to Julie Etheridge. Director of the Asset Management Division. But first, please complete the quick 10-question survey shown next. Thank you. And good luck on continued success in the remaining modules.